Ladies and gentlemen, let's Red Gamer Tedcom video. Let us discuss two pieces of news concerning Xbox One and PS4. So the first one is from the perspective of a small indie firm. They are actually developing Helldivers, and they are by the name of Arrowhead Game Studios. And they've stated that they don't really think the PS4's GPU speed is actually as important as the ability to easily utilize the performance. So yeah, sure, teams like Naughty Dog probably use every last bit of bandwidth, but for small perspective, it's more about the ease of use than top speed. That's what they say, and it makes sense. And this has been, I've been alluding to this for a while on the channel, because I do think that a lot of the times, you know, from the perspective of a lot of the games developers, for the ones that have smaller budgets, the ones that can't afford like a 10 million texture artist to draw a rock, of course I kid, but you get the idea, and the ones that instead have to go with a more artsy style. Indeed, the PS4 is more attractive because it's easier to use, rather than the fact it's more powerful. So hopefully Microsoft could start to improve their development process and tools, and that will help things quite substantially, at least in my opinion. I'm not necessarily saying it will ever be as easy as the PS4 to develop for, but it's probably going to become less of a pain in the buttocks. Moving on, let's discuss Rayman Legends. Now, of course, Rayman Legends is going to be released on the PS4 and Xbox One, but the developer has said that there's no differences between the two versions, and both versions will be running 60 frames per second at 1080p, so there's no battle on this front at all. And indeed, he said that pretty much the two consoles are pretty much close to each other from a technical point of view, and the only thing that really matters is the games that the consoles will offer. And he also said that developing a game for both consoles is quite close, so it means the games that are existing on both platforms should be very similar. Now, to be fair, Rayman Legends is not exactly a super duper taxing game. I mean, for example, if you were to look at the system specifications of it on Steam, it requires pretty much, well, it'll run on pretty much anything. Let's just go with that. A Pentium 4, for example, at 3 GHz, 2 GB of RAM, or a GeForce 8800 GT will run this on minimum. Recommended, on the other hand, is like a 9600 GT, and let's see, Intel dual-core E4400 processor at 2 GHz. So in other words, it's not a technically demanding title. In a more strenuous environment, when we're actually pushing the consoles more to the limits, of course the gulf between the two platforms is going to increase. I've spoken about that a lot, so I'm not really going to belabor the point, because I don't really think that serves anyone. But I do think that the PS4's gulf versus the Xbox One is probably going to remain fairly consistent. Maybe the Xbox One will slightly catch up, maybe the gulf will increase a little bit more. It really depends on your perspective. Some developers believe that the gap between the two systems is going to diminish. Others believe, yes, it is going to increase. Microsoft are starting to push in terms of better drivers for the system to improve performance. They've obviously reduced the deficit that's caused by the reserve of the GPU. But, of course, Sony are also doing their own optimizations. So I believe, yes, the gap is still going to remain, but I don't think it's going to be as prohibitive as maybe some people are saying on the internet. You know how I think it's going to be a case of it's going to be on a game by game basis, and sure, some developers are definitely going to take every last drop of power out of that system. For a lot of cross-developed games, it probably won't make a huge difference. But, of course, the exclusives are going to be the ones that really reveal themselves and really show off the muscle of both systems. Regardless, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. It's been a pretty brief one, but I just wanted to touch on this, not necessarily to talk about the performance of both systems, but I did want to point out that for developers, you know, it's definitely started to become more of a ease of development thing, specifically for the smaller developers. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care, my friends, and bye for now.